Hello, welcome to the very first episode of our podcast. And the official name of the podcast is Life Unpacked with Kwabena and
Rev.Dr. George Ademinta.
yes. So we are here to talk about great life situations that can help improve our lives as Christians and how to better our lives and everything we do in our daily life. So yes, that's what we're about to talk. And we know you've seen some episodes out there. That was just a pilot, but this is the very first episode. I'm going to upload that one. It's about marriage. So today we're going to talk about something different. But before that, we are going to answer some questions from the very first episode.
Okay, sure.
So let me bring some questions.
Sure.
So it looks like when we spoke about marriage,
Yeah.
people had questions
Yeah.
on certain things. So I put down all the questions and I wanted to ask you
Sure.
on what you think, how to better their lives
Yeah.
and how they can make things better for them in terms of their marriage, or those who are willing to get married or who are wanting to get married soon.
Sure.
Okay, so the first question I had, so it says that this user said that we spoke about parents not deciding for choosing our partners,
Yes.
or having to go to our parents to get married.
Yeah.
And someone said that I faced this problem and let the love of my life go. Today, I'm married to a very honest and hardworking lady. But the question is, am I truly happy? Story for another day. So in this
Yeah.
situation,
Be patient with your parents. Argue your case. Present your case. But I'm also somebody who feels very strongly that nobody should choose your spouse for you. My father told me many years ago, when I was younger, that he said, if you allow us to choose your spouse for you, we will control your life. And he shared his own example in life with me. And for me, that is my lesson. I think making a decision on your spouse shows that you are mature to make decisions. So if you want somebody to choose for you, then I would say you are not mature enough to get married. We can counsel you, we can give you guidelines. When parents are questioning, basically we are saying that, look, we want you to think through it to make sure you are making the right decision. That's all we are doing. And we don't expect to choose your spouses for you. And when you make the mistake of saying that, okay, I'm going to choose somebody because my parent likes them, your parent's not going to get married to the person.
Yeah.
As much as I like to choose the spouse for everybody, I don't think it's right.
yes.
So to simply let the love of your life, love of your life go because your parents don't like the person, I think you need to spend more time. You need to argue your case. You need to push. If your parents have a valid reason, think through it. But even if you decide not to marry the person, don't let them make that choice for you. It should be you. I always tell people that as a pastor, I don't like matchmaking. I may recommend somebody to you, but I'm not going to live with the person. I've chosen my wife already. So why would I want to choose your wife for you? Because prove to me you are mature enough by giving me good reasons, and so that you can proceed with it. And that's a mistake. I don't know how you can resolve it, but basically you enter into a covenant with your wife. So you just have to pray for God to give you grace, so that your love for this wife will grow, and you will forget the other one. You know, it's a very bad situation.
So in talking to him, further questions, it was like the father, if he got married to the other, even though he loved him, the father said he was going to disown him.
Yeah, people say that all the time. Parents say that. I know a very famous pastor in Ghana who told me that when he was going to marry his wife, the wife's father said, no way. He even went to the point of even, the mother is the one who agreed. So the mother got some elders on her side of the family to accept the bride price and everything. So when he was going to wed his wife, the wife's father actually went to somebody in the press to actually smear him that he has kidnapped his daughter and that kind of stuff, because he thought that the pastor is going to be broke for life. But right now, the wife herself told me that the husband and the father are not the best of friends.
Wow.
They are the best of friends.
Wow.
Even when the father comes to the house, doesn't even talk to her. She goes straight, and the two of them are, catching up on things. So everybody can change their mind. People can say they will disown you. Disown you from what? I remember one young lady, the father was threatening her that if you marry this person, I will disinherit you. And she came to me, she was so scared. Disinherit you of what? the hut in the village or what? But you present your case, you argue, you have valid reasons. I've had a case where the father said he does not want his daughter to marry a guy because the guy had a very short marriage and divorced. The guy's argument, there was no child. He said, no, for you to have such a short marriage, there's an issue with your character. And they came to me, we talked about it, but nobody had talked to the guy. So I asked the guy, which pastor did your wedding? And he gave me the pastor's name. I said, give me the number. I took the number. And I called the man. The guy had given me the impression that it's a lady who walked out of the marriage. But when I told the pastor, I called the pastor, that was not his story.
Wow.
It's like both of them did not listen to him. So I told the young lady, listen to what your father is saying. I'm not saying he should choose your husband, but he has a valid point. It wasn't long before the relationship messed up.
Wow.
And right now she's glad she listened. So listening to valid reasons, not, I don't like their tribe and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, and I think I'll have a follow-up question with this too. So now that he's going through this, his wife is innocent.
Yes.
And he was saying that, I was like, have you spoken to your wife? And he was like, he doesn't know how to go about it. And one thing that he also mentioned is that he's still stuck on his previous ex, that there's no intimacy with his wife.
Well, I think that marriage is a covenant. And if let's even get out of marriage into contracts.
Okay.
Supposing you want to buy a house and you like the house, but then you go for settlement, you sign the documents, and after that you don't like you see a better house. You don't go back on contracts and covenants because the wife has not done anything.
Yes.
If the wife was adulterous, she was disrespectful and everything, they can say that she's doing something that is causing, but she is doing everything she needs to do as a wife. We should rule our hearts. Okay? Our emotions should not rule us. So my thinking is that he needs to really go before God to give him grace to help him so that he can love his wife because he's already brought her in and she's not done anything wrong. All these things are emotions. We should be able to control them. It's like, say, for example, if there's somebody you think you love very deeply, you're mad in love with the person, they marry somebody else, what are you going to do? Are you going to live the rest of your life fantasizing about the person? No, you got to move on. Certain things are realities. You just need to make up your mind. It's a sign of maturity. Like I love chocolate, I love sugar, but if the doctor tells me that if I eat chocolate and sugar is going to kill me, I'm not going to say that, oh, I like this so much, I can't help it, so I'm going to eat and die. You need to make up your mind. Ask God to give you grace. Rule over your emotions. The human species, that shows we are human. We can make those decisions and say, look, I'm done with this. To me, he needs to make that bold decision. And I don't think it's an issue that even he should discuss with his wife. It's an internal problem for him. And he needs to deal with it and make that decision. Pray hard for God to help him and shift his focus on the wife. And if you read, I think it's Proverbs, is it 8 or so, where it talks about the fact that rejoice in the wife of your youth, and that's so on and so forth. And then he goes on to say that why would you be in the embrace of an adulterous woman? Which these are choices that we make. For us as men, physical contact and what we see tend to affect us emotionally. He needs to focus his attention on his wife. And he said, I'm going to love this woman. Stay close to her, be close to her. And I'm sure it will come. We always tell women that they should get over it, and over the years they begin to love the man they are going to marry. Men can also do the same thing.
Wow. Wow, this is wisdom. This is wisdom. And thank you so much for answering this question, because I think when I was, he was very concerned. He was very concerned. So I know him listening to this is going to help him a lot and grow in his marriage too.
Because in reality, let me give you this example. If you keep spending, say there's somebody a woman have a relationship with, the more time you spend with her and you do intimate things, you begin to see that you begin to get attracted to that person. It's the same thing. Spend more time with your wife, do things together, and you will see that you begin to enjoy her more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have another question too from our previous. I know this previous marriage, we probably have to do a part two, right? Part two, yeah. But let me just answer one last question before we move to our topic for today. In terms of people having finances to get married, someone said that, Charlie, easier. That's one comment someone One comment someone wrote that, Charlie, no easy because the economy hard. So you're saying that the economy is so hard that they can't even get married.
Okay.
So how do they go about these things? The hardship going on, inflation and all of that.
Everybody is living in inflation.
Yeah.
So I believe that to every economic system there are two parts. There's income and there's expenditure. All you need to do is to bring down your expenditure and you have excess left. If I tell people that when my wife came and we started staying together, I don't think I was making $20,000.
Wow.
When she came from Ghana, she didn't have a job.
Wow.
Yes, still we survived. You know, we lived at a place where we could afford. You know, gradually she found a job. My salary kept going up. Then we moved to a nicer apartment. You know, gradually our income went up until somebody did our taxes and told us that we are going to owe money. He thinks the next step in life is to buy a house. We didn't go to look for a single family home. The first house we bought, I don't know if I showed it to you, it's a small town house. You know, when we bought it, the outside looked very raggedy because we couldn't afford to paint it. But within 2 years, we had saved enough. Because when you're going to buy a house, you know, you save a down payment. So all our savings were wiped out when we bought a house. But we saved enough to be able to redo the siding.
Yeah.
And within 4 years, we sold it for a profit of $28,000.
Wow.
See, you build slowly. If you want to get a lot of money before you get married, it will never happen. By the time you get married, you'll be 50. You see? So there are two sides to it.
Yeah.
There are things those days we wanted to do, but we just said, no, we can't afford to do it. We need to change our priorities. You know, but now we can afford to do it. And sometimes I believe also that, well, not sometimes, I believe generally that when two people are, Ecclesiastes says, two are better than one, for they have a good reward for their labor. I think you're able to build wealth faster when the two of you are collaborating.
Right.
So I find that our incomes were okay, but once we got married, we began to do better. My wife was bringing ideas how to save money, you know, all that kind of stuff. And with the two incomes, we could achieve more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is a very good intro into today's topic.
Sure.
Because today we are going to talk about finances and building wealth.
Okay.
Yes, and I want to start by saying that is money a bad thing? Because in the Christian community, or let's say in the religious world, let me put it that way, if you have money or too much money, they feel like, oh, I don't want to get too much money because I'll be... So is money a bad thing? I want to know your take on money.
No, money is not a bad thing. In fact, the scripture people misquote, they say money is the root of all evil. No, the scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. There's nothing wrong with money. In fact, it's a blessing. When God called Abraham, he promised him wealth, you know. So there's nothing wrong with it. The problem comes when your money rules you, but you don't rule your money. Yes. So when righteous people have a lot of money, they can make a lot of difference in society, you know. Poverty is a very, very dangerous thing. And I think that we need to change the attitude towards money.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's something that God gave to man to enjoy and to use it to change the world. But unfortunately, we have been taught the wrong thing about it. Yeah. It's the love of money that's a problem, not money itself. No.
Okay. So this comes out my follow-up question. I realized that there are so many people who pray all the time for money and all of that. And there are people who don't even go to church or who are not Christians, but they are rich. But the people who are always going to church, who are praying, they don't have money. They've not been able to build wealth for so many years. And some of them are passed away, and their family, the same thing. It goes down. What's your take on that?
My take on that is almost everything. I mean, there are principles of money. I need to understand the principles to become wealthy. So when you go and ask God, he said it gives you power to make wealth. And people think that I have to ask God. God is not going to put a briefcase with dollars in your front door. You know, if he gives it to you even, I'm telling you, you waste it. God will know how to do it. When he says power to make wealth, I think the issue there is wisdom to know how to make wealth. So instead of praying to God for money, ask God, teach me the principles. And when it comes to knowledge, if you read the book of Proverbs, where it talks about wisdom, it talks about the fact that wisdom is something that you have to work hard to get. You know, So associate with people who have money and learn from them. One thing which I find very frustrating with Christians, with Africans in general, everybody wants you to give them money, but they don't want to know how you got the money, so they can do something
Right,
similar.
right.
Like when I came to America, the Washington Post, we didn't have internet. The Washington Post had a finance section and also a real estate section. Every week, that section, I read it from cover to cover because I wanted to understand the American system, I wanted to understand real estate. To the point that when we were buying our first home, I knew so much that the realtor who was working with us, when I asked her a question, she has to bring in a broker. So I was working with the broker who owned the company because I just said, why do you know so much? I could sit there and calculate this house I'm going to buy. We didn't have internet, so there were no tools. I can use a spreadsheet to figure out what my mortgage will be, which was very unusual. Wow. So I understood, what. So we need to learn. Don't just hide in the room and pray. Yes, pray for God to give you wisdom. Pray for God to give you opportunities so you know what to do. Pray to develop the right skills so that when you have money, you know what to do with it to generate more. And I think that is what is hurting the church in general. Yeah.
Okay, so I have this question, right? Sometimes people are able to make money, maybe at a young age, make money and all of that, but at a point in time, they go broke.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't make money, they just have, and they don't make enough from their work, but they're able to build wealth from that. What are some of the principles that make this happen, and what are some of the principles that make people go broke?
Okay. As I said, to become wealthy, you need to understand money. And the reason why I think, if for example, you get a lot of money without understanding money, you will lose it. Okay. And that's where the gap that I see. I see people who come upon a business opportunity and they see a lot of money and they chase the money. But when you get it, what do you do with it? And that is where I think the danger is. I think wealth is something you build slowly. You gain experience, you understand the system, so you know what to do. I'm not saying there won't be times when you will lose money. Yes, you can lose money. But if you understand how to make money, when you lose money, you can make it back again. Like recessions come, the stock market crashes. Warren Buffett was a billionaire, the stock market crashes, he's still a billionaire because he knows what to do, and he has taught principles about it. So people need to focus more on learning. And also my philosophy is that when you learn the principle, when you lose something, you don't panic. Okay? You can do it again. And that is philosophical. Most people who are wealthy, steadily wealthy, their businesses have crashed before, but they know how to bring it back. There is an element of tenacity in becoming wealthy, in that when you go down, you rise up again. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay. So, Uncle, when I started working, you taught me certain things, things you're supposed to do. I want you to tell the whole world on some of the things that you advise me on what to do. So when assuming I make my paycheck, what do I do? And all? Yeah. So if you can also tell the whole world about this.
First of all, there is something I think I've thought about in church before, the principle of extra. Okay. And I'm going to go back to talk about economics, how the economy works. Then I'll come back to that. Basically, the way you create wealth or make money in the system, we use something we call factors of production. The factors of production, the economists will say they are inputs to create goods and services. And we sell these goods and services to make money. It's simple. Depending on who you read, some people say there are 4. Most people say there are 4 of them. Some say 3, and some go even up to 5. So basically, you take those things and you create wealth. And I like to work with the 3 now. One is land or natural resources. Then there is capital or money, which you invest in corporations, which make money. And then there is labor, which is you have skills, you work with it, and you get paid wages. Some people add entrepreneurship or enterprise. But I think that enterprise is very similar to capital. So you put a business together as capital. So it's there. So if I work with the 3, I think what I was trying to explain to you is that of the 3, land or natural resources, labor and capital, the cheapest of them is labor. Unfortunately for most of us, the only factor of production that we own, that we can use, is labor. I go work, I get wages. Now, when you own land or natural resources, you can get rental income from it. It also appreciates in value.
Yeah.
If you own capital, you invest, you get dividends, and it can also
Make money for you.
your investment can also appreciate. Like if you bought Microsoft or Amazon years ago, the value was down and the company has grown. So yeah. Now, when you make labor is the cheapest of the whole lot. So when we make money from the labor alone, you are the poorest in society.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I know say, oh, get job for the people. It's true. But you be the poorest. From Bill Gates is not a billionaire because he works for Microsoft, because he owns Microsoft.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is that as you make money from your labor, try to divert, don't spend all of it. Bring down your spending so you have excess. And the excess, put it into capital or put it into land or real estate. Buy some of that. So after a while, the capital is giving you dividends, appreciating in value, and then your land or real estate is also getting you rental income or appreciating in value. That is how you become wealthy.
Wow.
So what I tell everybody who I advise financially is that no matter how much you make, try to spend less than what you are making. And the excess, invest it in real estate, invest it in also capital markets, because not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the way the economic system is set up, you can invest with Elon Musk.
Yes.
You can invest with Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
You buy a piece of their company. Once they make money, you make money.
Yeah.
So once you do those things, you get to a point where you don't need to every day go to work to make money, but these things are also making money for you.
Yeah.
And that is how you become wealthy. Yes. And I think you grabbed that concept very well, and you started investing aggressively.
Yeah.
And when you begin to invest aggressively, I'm telling you, you don't see it now, but in a few years,
in the future,
you see that. Yeah.
So, in talking about this thing, right? Places like America, it's easier to do that.
Yes.
What are places like Africa, where it's not structured? How are they able to accomplish this?
If you go into any society in Africa, they are wealthy people.
Yeah.
Talk to them and find out what they do, how they make their money. You're going to find that a lot of them, either they own real estate, which they rent out, or they own businesses. Okay? And that is how you do it. I met a young lady once. I was so impressed, very young lady, and she had bought land at a very expensive area. She was telling me, I don't have money to build. I said, it doesn't matter. And if you sell that land, you make tons of money. She's a young lady that was making money. She didn't even have a car. Yes, so she bought land.
Wow.
Because the land she bought will appreciate. When she buys a car, it will depreciate. So, and I think the opportunity is there. The only thing about Africa is that because the markets and investments are not well regulated, there's a lot of risk.
Yes.
But it's a principle of investments. The higher the return, the higher the risk.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful. You need to know what you are doing. You need to do your due diligence. You want to buy a piece of land, make sure the person who is selling it owns it.
Yes.
Make sure that you can buy it. And you have to build in also some money. I remember you buy land in Africa and you think you paid for it. When you go to dig the land to build the foundation, the chief will come and say, you have to pay me. So build all those contingencies in there. It's easier in the West, but I think the opportunity is also in Africa for doing it. If I know somebody in Kumasi who used to live in the same house with a young man who finished those days elementary school and he didn't have a job. He was living with his uncle in our house. And they started selling PK on the streets.
Wow.
Next thing you saw him, he was sitting under an umbrella somewhere selling, things. And next thing we knew, he actually owned his own store.
Wow.
And I remember when I was in college, I knew him when I was in secondary school. I was in college one day, I passed in front of his store in KNUS and he gave me money.
Wow.
This is a boy who was like a boy in the house. So he started somewhere. Yes. And that's how he built it. So entrepreneurship is something that is very ripe in Africa. Markets are there. But you must be strategic about it.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. In the Christian world, there are certain things that I believe there are certain things that I can do to not even in the Christian everywhere. There are certain things that you can do to basic principles. For me, when I get my paycheck, there are certain things I do.
Yes.
Yeah, which of course you taught me. So what are some of the things that if someone gets their paycheck, okay, if he gets, let's say, $2,000,
Yes.
$100, what is the first thing to do? The second thing, the
Okay.
third thing?
I believe that for every dollar I get, first I pay God. I pay my tithes. I know these people are saying that tithes are past and we shouldn't pay tithes. You know, I'm not going to argue about the theology of it, but the fact that Abraham, God promised him wealth, and
Yeah.
Abraham paid a tithe to Melchizedek.
Yeah.
So I like to follow the principles of those people. Um, Jacob made a promise to God that if you take care of me, whatever I get, I'll give you a tenth. So I'm going to make a covenant with God.
Yeah.
So whatever I get, I pay God first. The second thing is that I pay myself. Okay? How do I pay myself? I consider my bills or investment, the money I invest, or the money, my investment or my savings, I consider it as a bill.
As a bill, okay.
So Warren Buffett said, don't spend and then save what is left. Rather save and then spend what is left.
Wow.
Okay, very important principle.
Wow.
I see many people they tell me I can't save because the money is not enough. That tells me that you are spending too much or you have too many bills. You need to cut it down. So you need to attack your debts and bring them down. And the third thing is pay others. So you pay God first, then you pay yourself. Keep some. What you go to the mall to spend, you are giving it to others. So that's the principle. Save and invest some. Then what is left, you spend it. You know, if you are at a point in life where when your paycheck comes, it's all going towards bills, you have a serious problem. You need to attack your debts and bring them down. I mean, if in America here, the credit cards are there, but everything you buy with credit, you will pay. You know, and people say, "Oh, I got free money." No, that's not like free money. You know, and then your bills keep piling up. So it gets to the point where the money comes and it's less than what you owe.
What you owe,
You have a serious problem. And that's where the extra principle comes in. Make sure every time you get any money, there's extra for you so that you can do something, not do something for yourself, but invest. You know, deny yourself. You know, Jesus gave the parable of the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins who were going to a wedding. And those people took extra oil. Do you think it was convenient carrying the extra oil?
No.
You are going to a wedding, you are dressed, and you are carrying kerosene for your lamp. But the fact is that because they took extra oil, you know, when their oil ran out, they were able to refill, and the others didn't have it. It's the same principle with money. Keep extra. There are things you want to buy. There are shoes you want to buy. There are cars you want to buy. You just have to make up your mind that I'm not going to buy this so that I can save.
Save, right.
Or I can invest,
Right.
you know. And these are realities of life, you know.
Wow. Thank you so much.
The whole concept of wealth, it starts with the mind. There are certain principles you need to learn. Building a savings habit, building an investment habit. So if somebody who doesn't have that mindset of investing or saving or knowing how to manage money, if you give them $1 million today, I bet you in a year's time they'll still be broke. Because they haven't learned how to manage. But when you build wealth slowly, you learn certain lessons that help you. For example, my wife and I were talking one time, and we were talking about the fact that when I was in secondary school, I opened a post office savings account. So the pocket money I was giving to go to school, I actually had some in the post office that I was saving. you know. But I have friends who, in the middle of the term, they are broke already. But I have money sitting there. So it's a principle I was learning. Then when I got to university, I opened an account at Ghana Commercial Bank. So the money the allowances that we were giving, nowadays we got allowances. People get the allowance, they go and buy sound system right away. And within a few weeks, they are broke. I was putting my allowance in Ghana Commercial Bank in there. So when I came here and they went to do my wife all the ceremony, I said, look, I have some money here, you can get it. They said, don't worry, I also have a good bank account. Remember when I met her even, she was working as a secretary, but she also used to go to Lome to buy things to come and sell. She did entrepreneurship and generating multiple streams of income. And I know a few rich people in Ghana today, very rich people, I won't mention their names, but people don't know how they started. I know some of them who in those days were so broke, they would go to Rome to go and buy things to come and sell in Ghana. Because they couldn't afford a hotel. They would land in Rome in the morning, do all their shopping. Then they will arrange their suitcases and sleep on it in the airport. The following morning, they come back to Accra. When they are going to Rome, do you know, they take food and water because they can't even afford to buy ice water, bottled water in Rome. That's how they live their life. Today, they become so wealthy, they build mansions. Because they say, oh, they are rich. It's not by default. It's by habits. And when you are close to some of them, even today, You see that before they buy something, they calculate very well. In fact, when I went to business school here, the research I did was on cosmetics for my final year project work. And it's very interesting. Do you know poor people in America spend more on expensive cosmetics than rich people? The rich people go to dollar store. After all, lipstick, no, when they wear, how would you know the brand? And the poor people are the ones who are going to more expensive stores and buying the high-end, cosmetics. So the young people need to know, make it a goal. I want to become wealthy. There's nothing wrong having a goal like that. But don't do it illegally. Because the scripture says that God gives wealth and does not add any sorrow. It's very good to make money in such a way that when you sleep well. Because you are not afraid that anybody will come after you. But when you steal money, you can't sleep well, you can't enjoy your wealth. And there are ways of making it in Ghana. Many people have done it, without stealing money. I know people who have worked very hard to make their money. Yes, it's possible.
Now, in terms of courtship or relationship, in the courtship process, do you also factor how business-minded your spouse is or your soon-to-be husband or wife is? Because you kept mentioning your wife had this idea supporting you. So in starting a relationship, apart from the affection, which is love, do you also consider or make it a point that you are going to be with somebody who is also business-minded to help you with it?
Well, I don't want to say business-minded, but I think you want to also get somebody who is a dreamer, a visionary, or knows how to support a dream. You know what I'm saying? Because you as a man may be very business-minded, but your wife doesn't have to be. Maybe she has to be your backbone, because not everybody is business-minded. I hope you get me. So, because she's meant to be your helper. So sometimes your strength doesn't have to be her strength. You are enough. Maybe she's business-minded, you bring this business ideas, also bring the ideas, and you start fighting. But if you are business-minded, but she's somebody who is well-organized, she can actually maybe help you to organize your business. So you bring the dream, and she makes it a reality. So it's a complementary thing, yes. But you need to look beyond the, just the looks and all that. Because I'm telling you, I've been at this for over 40-something years. After a while, those things don't matter anymore. Because you can marry the most beautiful woman or the handsomest man. If your relationship is bad, it doesn't matter. It's not going to work. So you must be able to share your dreams, your vision, and agree that this is where we want to go as a family. And then you work on it. Yeah.
Last one.
Go ahead.
The last one will be the African system or the Ghana system, because I know the audience, people watching, most of them are in Africa.
Yes.
As compared to the system in the Western world.
Yes.
People have this mentality that when you come to Europe or when you come to America, the possibility of making it is high.
Okay.
Now, there's a habit of the youth running for greener pastures.
Yeah.
And if you go into research, you notice that most of the wealthy people, and you even just mentioned they go to Rome to do business and all that, the people who don't have the resources and the means to run away from Ghana, to do businesses and to perhaps change their dreams beyond the borders. What are some of the things that we can do comparing the economic situation of the Western world and that of Ghana or Africa?
Yeah, when I said they go to Rome, they didn't go to stay there. So they go to buy and come and sell in Ghana. And to be honest, some of them are even better off today than those of us who came here.
Okay.
Yeah, I met a young man recently. She actually had even got a visa lottery and has come to the US. And I sat down with him and we talked. And when he told me the things he was doing in Ghana, I told him to go back to Ghana. And right now, he's thankful to me that I told him to go back. Because he's achieving more. Doors are opening for him. In this system, he'll probably be working at a place like CVS, making a lot of money. But the taxes will take a chunk of it. And what I told him was that he's a visionary. And in the area of pharmacy, he is more like somebody who is able to develop formulary for drugs. So if he comes and he's sitting at CVS just selling drugs, no matter how much they pay him, he will never be satisfied. The self-actualization thing will not be there. So I told him, no, go back. You are too much of an entrepreneur to stay in this system. And right now he's grateful he did, because things are moving very fast for him. So And I've seen a few people I have told that, look, don't come and waste your time here. But there are some also, everybody is different. We need to come into this system. But the unfortunate thing for us, for those of us who have been in this system for so long, is that when you tell people in Ghana that they can make it, they don't believe you. Then when you are elite, but when you come here, yes, I'm telling you, this place has its disadvantages. The taxing, you see, you earn a lot, but the expenses are also very high. And if you are not very disciplined, America can ruin you because so many material things. It's very difficult to save here and so on. But so I say everybody should look at themselves and see what they can do. And I've told some people that, look, if you fail in Ghana and you come here, you have the same mindset, you will fail here too. You know what I'm saying? So it's everybody is different. What they can do to succeed, yes. Yeah.
I think we're in a situation where a lot of women, not all women, there's some amazing women out there. A lot of women, right? They look at people's finances before they approach them, or they give them a chance to come into their situation. Right? And there are some women that don't care, but they feel like if they are to take care of the men, when the men get money, they'll dump them. So, what's your take on that?
You say they are looking for a man who has money.
Yes.
How do you know the man has money?
Sometimes when they see the cars and
but do you know that he owes money on the car? I told them in church one time that, look, the guy wearing that leather jacket and that expensive suit that you find so attractive, he's rich. No, maybe he owes money.
Yeah.
So, it's Warren Buffett, I think, said this, that you can choose to invest your money or to wear it. So, or you can drive in it. Okay? When you buy an expensive car, it depreciates.
Yeah.
Okay? So the idea that you can look at somebody and say this person is rich is very deceptive. In fact, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, where they did a good study of millionaires. Do you know where the average billionaire buys their suits? JCPenney. But for some of us, we think that JCPenney suit is here. And the average millionaire in America does not buy brand new cars.
2 years old.
They buy old cars. So it's very, very deceptive. When you go to Wall Street, most of those you see driving Ferraris and so on, they are not wealthy. They are trying to sell to the rich, So I know a few rich people, and I'm telling you, rich people don't display their wealth, So the fact you see someone and you think that, and I tell the young ladies sometimes that the man you see who you think is rich, the young lady actually was crying to me and my wife one time and complaining about how when she wants to take money to go to the grocery store to buy food for the children, the husband is angry with her. You are spending too much money on food. This same man will go to a store and buy an expensive leather jacket for himself. So you see him in that jacket, you think he's so cool, he's so rich. But the man, he's wicked. He thinks about himself. A man who will buy more clothing than his wife. So let's be careful and not misjudge. And also the men, you see the woman and like say the rear end and everything, and you are crazy about it. You don't know what is stuff in there. And sometimes also, it takes a lot of money. You need to maintain that. So let's be careful. I say when you want to marry someone, please look at their heart, not what they wear or what they drive.
Wow. So, wow. There's been bars upon bars. Bars upon bars. And today's discussion on finances. And I want to thank Rev.Dr. George Ademita, who I really admire, my role model, and someone that I aspire to be like one day. So much for pouring your hearts and your nuggets out for the whole world to be inspired by these things. And is there any final thing you want to say as we wrap up on today's episode?
Yeah, my final thought is that when you have money, spend it on things that appreciate, not things that depreciate. Always think about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't, buy your necessities, but if a large chunk of your money is being spent on things that depreciate, somebody said if you have a Land Rover and a landlord, you might be crazy. Spend a house appreciates, a car depreciates. And I will add one more thing that. The Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. If you don't have, how can you give to be blessed? So having itself creates another opportunity for you to be blessed. And I'm saying that because Kobe Che is here. As a young man, he's doing a lot in Ghana. And what he's gaining is not pay, but internal satisfaction. Being satisfied to the point that you know that you have it so you can affect somebody and change their lives is very satisfying, you know. But if you're always broke and you are the receiver, you know, it's not very satisfying. Your dignity is not there. So let's all strive to be givers. And the way to strive to be a giver is to build wealth so that you can have to give to others. Yes.
Okay, so this is Life Unpacked podcast with Rev.Dr. George Ademita and Kwabena Boateng. Watch out for more episodes coming out soon. Stay blessed. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.